supposed to quiet down, right? Down my fire to a meek little simmer, like a kettle too polite to boil. Whistling softly so your grand tribunal of normalcy doesn't wrinkle its powdered colonial wig. If I don't cram myself into your factory-issued blueprint of how a proper human should function, you whip out your collection of psychological buzzwords, your alphabet soup of theories rehated for the 1000th time, and crown me with labels like you're some medieval bishop assigning sins to anyone whose heartbeat refuses your script. You call it mental, as if the word were a hammer and every bright mind an inconvenient nail. You slice through zest, curiosity, raw wonder with linguistic scalpels so dull they barely cut. Not because you understand the anatomy of the soul, but because cutting is easier than comprehending my energy. You call it chaos, my imagination a malfunction, my hunger for life, a disorder in need of fumigation, and all because some dusty academic decades ago declared himself the referee of reality and scribbled a few opinions into a book that everyone thereafter treated like sacred scripture. Well, you're too much, you say a comedy. Truly, maybe the real tragedy is that you're not enough. Not enough color, not enough spark, not enough courage to step outside your pre-approved palette of grayscale thoughts and store-brand emotions. You cling to your balance scales of normal, those trembling little devices that measure humanity like produce in the clearance section of a supermarket. Anything that doesn't sit dead center on your holy axis of predictability, impale it, pathologize it, teach it in schools as a danger, edit it in thick textbooks to pass the tradition of fear to the next generation like a family heirloom nobody asked for. Life is art, but you treat it like accounting. Humanity is a galaxy, but you insist on mapping it with a broken compass and a ruler that only measures conformity. You mistake your comfort zone for a universal truth, your bias for science, your boredom for stability. Your normality bed is so tidy, so stiff, so suffocating. You mistaken stillness for sanity and mediocrity for wisdom. Keep your prescriptions of blandness, keep your lullaby of beige monotony. Stay tucked into the mattress of safe and standard while creativity roams outside like a wild meteor, burning too bright for your sleepy eyes. You think I'm intimidating? No, my existence simply reminds you that there were worlds you never dared to visit, ideas you feared to think, colors you refused to touch. The greatest minds in history were dragged through the same mud pits by the same chorus of insecure gatekeepers who saw difference as danger and brilliance as malfunction. A jealous pot of tangled knots, panicking at anything that dares to shine beyond the radius of their candle flame. You asked me to stand on your level, as if descending into the basement would be some kind of promotion. Why would I shrink myself into your dim windowless little corridor of acceptable thoughts? I've got a zest for the life that won't fit there, and you'll never be its controller. Go ahead, convince crowds of dull disciples to worship your narrow gods of normalcy. Humanity is not that gullible people recognize when the emperor is naked, even when the emperor's holding a DSM. Your world isn't a beam where few are allowed to balance. It's a carnival ride with endless shapes and sounds, and you're the one insisting everyone sit still and face forward like well-behaved cutouts. You label entire groups with a syllable, thinking you've achieved mastery of the human condition. But your labels are cardboard swords, they collapse the moment they meet real life. You call yourself educated, how adorable, following the rituals written by the ghost of someone who once declared himself the emperor of minds. Does not make you enlightened, it makes you an echo. If you were in my class, you'd fail, not because you lack intelligence, but because you refuse curiosity. You fear the unknown, the way a shadow fears the dawn. We're all on the clock, no one escapes that final sunset. And in the short time I have, I refuse to chain myself